I'm professionally known as Masta Ace. Uh, Born in Brooklyn, New York. I'm a recording artist, songwriter, producer. I've been in the music business professionally since 1988. I started really writing and rapping at least 10 years before that. And Now my career has been going on 30 years since the beginning, or pretty much 30 years. And I've released several solo albums, a few special collaborative projects, and I've been able to tour the world over the course of that time, and it's been a great journey that I'm actually still on. I'm still traveling, touring around the world, and it's been a blessed journey.
Oh, that's awesome. That actually will kind of like segue into this question. What motivated you to adopt a plant-based lifestyle?
Well, I was diagnosed back in 2000 with a MS, multiple sclerosis, and from that time, I just started to research and read and learn more and more about how I could help my body to uh, heal itself and to stay strong. And I have it's been I would say a 10-year process of diet change, and it's been gradual. I've done it little by little, eliminating foods from my diet and incorporating superfoods into my diet. And I'm to that point now where I'm not 100% plant based yet because I still eat fish on occasion, but um, that is that's the last step in my journey, is eliminating fish from my diet, and then I will be 100% at that point. But I don't eat dairy. I don't eat dairy and things like that. Yeah, no dairy.
So why is it with the fish? Why is that like the last step? Like, why haven't you crossed that yet? In a sense.
Well, it's been like I said, it's been I figured out the way for me is to eliminate things step by step.
Right.
So like pork was eliminated years ago. Like before when I was a kid, I stopped eating pork, and then I stopped eating beef about 6 or 7 years ago. Beef was a big one because I didn't eat pork. I thought I was doing great, and then I saw beef was the next sort of target. I knew that that was going to be the next thing, and so five, about 6 years ago, I guess I stopped eating beef on my birthday, and it was really just an experiment because we have these mental connections with food, these emotional connections with food, where we think we need something. When we smell it, we think we need it, and so beef was going to be the big one. I said that if I can eliminate beef and burgers and steaks and those types of things, once I've conquered that, then I know that anything is possible. So I eliminated beef, and then I was on a chicken and fish journey. And so 3 years ago, I saw the doc. Was it 3 years or 2 years ago? It might have been 2 years ago. Um, but I saw the documentary "What the Health," and it had a profound effect on me. And literally, right after watching the documentary, chicken was eliminated from my diet. And I think part of it was because fish was probably the least culpable culprit in that documentary. I said I'm gonna hold on to fish for a little bit, and so chicken was 3 years ago. I'd been eating chicken for quite a while, and chicken was my go-to every time I went out. Chicken breasts, meat healthy. But after seeing that documentary, I knew that chicken was going to be cut off the list, and so that was 2 years ago. And now I feel like I know what my next step is, and I know that. I feel like I'm plant based about 3 to 4 days a week, or anyway, because I don't eat fish every day, and so in a lot of ways, I'm already have my I already have both feet in the water. I'm just not. I didn't put my whole body in yet, but
Right.
I know where I'm headed, and I'm I have a destination. I know where I'm going, and I'm on the road and I'm driving, and I know that that's where I'm going to end up.
Right. Okay. Right. So, with you being an artist, how do you handle social situations? So you're on tour, you're out. How do you
Hmm.
handle those situations?
I, I don't. If there's nothing to handle, I let people do what they do. People eat all kinds of wild stuff around me. It doesn't affect me at all. I know what I'm gonna eat and what I'm not gonna eat, and it's as simple as that. Sometimes people look at you kind of sideways, give you side eye, like, oh, what's that about? And you don't know anybody's journey. You don't know what anybody's going through, and why anybody does what it is they're doing. So I don't judge people. Or I try not to be judgmental of people and their diet choices. And the same token, I don't want people to judge me. Um, the guys that I roll with on the road, they're all really close friends, and they know how I eat. And so, in a lot of cases, if we're looking for a restaurant to eat at in a particular city, and they're looking at different menus, they'll be kind of helping me out, trying to see if this place has something that I would eat, and they'll be like, oh, this place has a vegetable pasta. You can get that, and it's appreciated that you have guys around you that care enough to not just look out for themselves, but actually try to pinpoint something on the menu that you would be interested in having. Um, but yeah, that. There's no pressure though. It really there really isn't. One of the things that I do when especially when I'm on the road is if I'm going to be out for like 2 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, I carry with me oatmeal, and oatmeal is always my go to meal if I know I'm going to get caught late night. There's bad food out. I don't want to eat late anyway. So if I'm going to eat something, it's going to be a complex carb that my body can break down, and so I've found oatmeal to be one of those things that I can eat late at night as a meal right before bed. I put vegan protein in it, and it's it's definitely saved me in a lot of situations where I might have made the wrong food choice late at night.
Okay. All right. That's a good thing. You gotta travel with food.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
so what do you think is the most positive result of you changing your diet?
That's a great question, because it's it's kind of hard to quantify. All I know is I was diagnosed around 19 years ago, and I firmly believe that if I continued on the journey that I was on in terms of the things that I was eating and drinking, not only would I be significantly heavier than I am now, but without a doubt in my mind, I feel like my mobility, my overall health and well-being would be compromised in some way. I feel like I would be struggling a lot more than I am. So there's no way for me to really quantify it. I just attribute it to the diet change, and then the exercise, and then of course the state of mind being the third thing. Positive state of mind.
So in a sense, it's a balance. So you use those three to balance it.
Those are the three, yeah. Diet, exercise, and positive mindset.
Of course, positive mindset. That's definitely one of them that's on the list. You gotta have that. Okay, so there's a stigma that comes with not eating meat or dairy in various cultures. Many are led to believe that this diet lifestyle is only for certain cultures. Do you agree with this? Like, what is one of the things you wish that people would know about this lifestyle?
That there's good food out there. Like, there's a misconception, especially among friends of mine, is that eating this way means that whatever you're eating, it must taste terrible.
Right.
And you can't possibly be full from that. And there's nothing further from the truth. And I always try to invite my guys to try a vegan dish, try a meal, like just try one. And some are afraid, some give it a shot. Um, but I've discovered over I mean, I think that the think that the vegan food marketplace has really made some great strides in terms of the quality of types of foods, the different cheese, for example, making cheese from nuts and really getting a good quality. Like the first vegan cheese was terrible, it wouldn't melt, nothing. It just wasn't a good product. But we're 10 years removed from that, and now you got these different cheeses made from cashews and almonds, and these things melt great, just like cheese. They have taste, and I've just found that I've had some of the best meals, and they've been vegan meals in the last probably 2 to 3 years. Some of the best meals, really really good meals.
So do you find, I find this with some of my friends and associates, is that when you don't name the food vegan and you just say, hey, I have this dish, once you try it, you
Yeah,
get a different reaction from it?
absolutely. Once people hear that word vegan, they turn their nose up and they figure
Right.
it's not going to taste good to them. And to me, they're missing out because there's really a lot of really good food out there, and a lot of it. I make stuff at home. I make vegan meals at home all the time. My wife makes them for me as well, and we have really really good dinners over here. Usually my wife is having to make two different dinners because her and my daughter still eat chicken and fish. Um, and a lot of nights I'm just having just a vegan meal, and so she'll have sometimes make two separate, completely separate meals for myself and then for her and my daughter. And that's the sacrifice that a family member makes for you, the wife.
That's awesome though.
Yeah,
She's able to do that. 'Cause a lot, I hear that a lot don't. So it's good that the family is on board with that as well. So with that being said, there's a lot of like information and stuff that's going on with the vegan meats and of that nature.
yeah,
What are your thoughts on that? Because even though they're vegan meats, it's still processed and it's in a sense it's vegan junk food. So what is your thoughts on
yeah.
that?
I'm not a fan of vegan meats like seitan and some of those other meats. Like most of those things are made from soy, and in the United States in particular, soy is the most GMO produced product in the United States. Only second to only corn is in second, but soy is the number one product that's used for so many different things, including making tofu. That's why with a lot of meals, if it comes with tofu, I'll just say no tofu, please, because I don't trust the tofu. I don't trust the meats, the artificial meats that they're serving us. I would rather just have a meal without any of that, because I don't trust the soy out here. If I'm in Europe, I might have a little different reaction to it because there's actually a little bit more integrity out there, a little bit more guidelines. Everything is just not about a dollar. So they've done a good job, in Europe, Germany. I go there a lot. They've done a good job of keeping these GMO crops out of out of their countries. The U.S. pushes constantly to try to get that stuff in, but and I know it may have, from what I hear, there was recently a something signed where they found a loophole to try to get GMO crops into Europe, and I hope it's not true, and I hope it didn't go through. I know there was a big protest about that in Europe to try to prevent it, but people actually care over there, so they're not just feeding you whatever they can to make themselves richer.
Right.
That's the problem with the United States. Everybody's just out to make a buck, and they don't care what they're feeding you. If it makes you sick, 10 years from now, that's your business. They just want to make sure that they become millionaires. It's unfortunate.
Right. It's all connected. Food,
Yep.
health, all that's connected. Dollar wise. So
Yep.
do you think there's a connection between health and the food that we consume in the black community when it comes to health challenges?
100%. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's not even a question. Diabetes, hypertension, probably the two leading, causes of death in the black community or poor health in the black community, and it's literally to a person. Like you you go into the community and you run into a bunch of old friends at like an old timers day, and you listen to each person. Everybody's in their 40s, somewhere maybe in their 50s, you listen to them talk, and everybody's taking pills for something. If it's not hypertension, it's diabetes. They're taking insulin shots for diabetes. And that's all directly related to the food that's being consumed in the hood. Everybody's drinking soda, they buying all this crazy, chips and candies, all this processed food, and and there's no education about it either. Like, who knows? Maybe if you were giving people the information that they needed, maybe some people would make a different choice. But a lot of times it comes down to just poverty and not having the extra $5 to spend to buy something that might be more healthier. It's just about getting full and get the most from my money as long as I feel full and I feel like I ate a meal. But then I realize a lot of it are empty calories. The rate of childhood obesity of kids I see, in Brooklyn where I'm from, under 14 years old, completely overweight, like to the brink of obese at 12 and 13 years old. It's like it's mind-boggling. I'm looking at these kids. I'm like, this kid is like 9. Like, how is this kid that big? That doesn't make sense. It's all related to diet, and unfortunately, that 9-year old that's 190 pounds, he's going to have a shorter life because of this epidemic of bad food that's in our neighborhoods.
Right, because also with the food that's in the neighborhood is also what's in it, depending on what they're
Absolutely.
eating, that's causing all
The
these effects
ingredients.
on our children. Right.
Nobody reads ingredients anymore. Sometimes my daughter, I try not to be too much of a food Nazi, because I know when I was young, I ate a bunch of wild stuff too, honey buns and all kind of stuff. But I just tell her like, if you can pronounce all those ingredients, then you can eat it. And she look at it and start seeing all these chemicals. I'm like, yeah, look that chemical up. See what that does. Before you know it, she's like, you know what, I'm not gonna eat this. I'll find something else. That's the education that needs to take place.
Right. And it's not, and that's something that needs to be done, because a lot of our meats are being injected with hormones, so our children are looking not the ages they're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. What the
So
hell?
so do you?
I recommend the documentary What the Health to everybody listening to this podcast.
Oh yeah,
You
that's
should
definitely one.
at
That
least
one.
know. You should at least know. I made my wife and daughter watch it. Like I sat down with them. I'm like, you guys are gonna watch this with me, and because I want you to, if nothing else, I want you to have the information. And they sat down and they watched it with me, and they're more conscious of dairy and the links between dairy and breast cancer. When I was a kid, breast cancer was like something you heard about every now and then. Now it's a movement. It's the pink ribbon. It's the NFL breast cancer awareness month. Like all of that stuff. Why is it so prevalent out of nowhere? What happened? Something happened because it wasn't that way, and now it is. And the links to dairy are undeniable. And my daughter and wife both have made different choices based on seeing the documentary. And it was important for me for them to see it. And people out there need to encourage your family members. If you can't force, you can't force them to do something, but what you just want to try to do is just give them the information, so that when they make that decision to go ahead and use cow's milk to pour in their cereal, at least they're consciously knowing, okay, this could give me breast cancer when I'm 30. So I'm making a conscious choice to pour this and eat it and consume it. Um, and I think most reasonable people won't make that choice. They'll find another way.
Right. And see, and one of the things that they don't show and talk about is that we're the only species that drink milk from another species, which we're not supposed to.
Right. Makes no sense.
At all. And even when the cows do, they don't even do it for that long. It's what, it's like three months or 6 months? They don't
Yeah.
even do it that long.
Till the
So
calf
it's
gets strong.
right. So it's really, really interesting to think like, wait a minute, am I really supposed to be drinking milk? We're the
Right.
only species that does that.
And it created a whole entire industry
Right.
off of milk.
Which creates mucus. So
Right.
yeah,
And
but that's
mucus is the leading cause of all disease.
exactly. Um, okay, so in the long run, do you think like a plant-based diet is really like healthier?
I don't think, I know it's healthier.
Yeah. Okay.
I know it's healthier. You know, and that's why I know that that's the final destination for me is plant based, because I see the changes and the improvements in my overall health as I've taken things out of my diet and
Mm.
eliminated things from my diet. So I'm gonna stay on that path. I'm blessed to be able to, you know, be as active as I am and as mobile as I am. Because a lot of people with this disease, some of them, especially people who have had it as long as I have, they're already struggling to walk. Some are even in wheelchairs. So some are blind. So you know, I look at those things and I say, you know, if going plant based is gonna help extend the quality of my life another 5 years, another 10 years, then absolutely I'm gonna do it.
Exactly. So do you feel like as a man that it's harder to begin that type of journey, like towards the plant-based lifestyle, as in regards to like women who just do it? Do you think it's kind of like harder?
It could be harder for some people. I'm not one who pays attention to what other people say. I'm not one that's easily influenced by the masses or the peers or peer pressure or anything like that. So cats are gonna say whatever they're gonna say, but it doesn't affect my thinking and what I'm doing. And most guys that I'm around anyway, they respect what I'm doing because they understand why I'm doing it. All they say is, "Yo, man, I can't do it, but you know, I respect the fact that that's what you're doing." So yeah, it's no pressure.
Okay. So any advice for anyone that's looking to take on this journey that you can give?
Yeah, I mean, I say challenge yourself by doing it in small increments or decrements. Say, okay, for the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to eat chicken or beef. And at the end of that time period, I'll go back to eating chicken and beef. But I just want to see how I feel. Give yourself a time period and just test it out. Because a lot of times you want to take the car out for a test drive before you buy it. So that's what you have to do. Take the car out for a test drive and, you know, try it for 2 weeks and then bring it on back. And then you can make certain decisions like, oh, how did I feel when I didn't eat chicken and beef for that 2 weeks? Did I feel different? Did I feel the same? How were the meals when I couldn't eat chicken and beef? Um, was I still able to eat meals that got me full? Did the meals taste good? And you know, that's what I challenge people to do, to pick a time period, do it for a certain period of time. It could even be a week. Do it for 1 week and see how you feel. And see if there's any difference. And see if you're missing it that much after the week. Some people are gonna miss it because they haven't, you know, made the change to their taste buds yet. Because you know a lot of this is about taste buds, and how we react when we taste food. Um, I've done the master cleanse 3 times in my life, and the master cleanse has allowed me to basically reset my taste buds, and to the point that when I eat something after doing the master cleanse, if I eat something that has salt on it, it tastes super salty to me. Or if I eat something sweet, it tastes super sweet. The sensitivity, my taste buds needed that time, that week of not eating any solid food, to reset itself. And I recommend that. That's my other bit of advice is to try something like the master cleanse or fast for 7 days or 10 days or 12 days, and then go back, and that'll help you reset your taste buds.
Right, because detoxing does do that. Yeah, so it just depends on what path you're on as far as the 7, 10, 12 days. Usually do around 20.
Right.
But
I've never done that. I've never done it that long.
oh yeah, I'm on it right now. I usually do it in the beginning
Okay.
of the year and like towards the end, and then in the middle, I'll
Okay.
do like like a mini one,
Intermittent.
like 2 weeks or whatever. But yeah, so in the
Okay.
beginning and the end, I'll do like a 20 day. So it helps
Cool.
because it also resets your mind frame too. It clears you.
Definitely. And it gives you and it teaches you a little bit of willpower too.
That definitely that part.
Yeah. Once you know that you can go 7 days without eating solid food, that day when you say, "Oh, I'm starving, I gotta eat something," you realize, you know what? I ate this morning. Like I'm as hungry as I think I am. I'm not really that hungry because I've gone 7 days and I've been okay. So I'm not gonna faint. I'm not gonna waste away. I'm gonna be all right until that next meal.
Right. Yeah. So it's all mindset, and once you
Yeah.
cross that, then you're pretty much good. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, what is one of your favorite meals?
I have a few, but my wife makes a chickpea stew. That's incredible. I love that meal. Super delicious. She made a bean soup the other day that was with yucca in it that was incredible as well. I make a vegan coleslaw dish. It's like a side, but I make a big bowl of it and I keep it in the refrigerator and I put a couple big scoops of it on my plate every time I have a meal. I make that with vegan mayonnaise and agave and a few other things. Super delicious. That's just a few. There's a bunch more, but those are probably like my top three. I'm sure I'm
Okay.
leaving something out.
So, in the end, a lot of people say that this lifestyle is expensive. What are your thoughts on that, as far as like the grocery side of it?
I mean, go to Trader Joe's instead of Whole Foods. That's what I say. Because the prices are crazy in Whole Foods. They are, and a lot of stuff is overpriced. You can get much better deals in Trader Joe's. They're a lot more reasonable with their pricing. Look for sales. Buy stuff in bulk. Stuff that's not perishable. You know, buy it in bulk.
All right. So, with that being said, do you have anything that's coming up that you're doing? Let all the listeners know it's coming up for you.
Uh, I'm just continuing the tour with Marco Polo, the producer from Toronto, Canada, who he and I have done an album together that came out last November, and we've been touring with that album since then. We're
Yes,
going
and
back
by the
on the
way,
road
that
now.
album is hot.
Oh, thank you. We're just touring. We're touring with that album, and I'm actually in the process of writing a musical that will be for the stage at some point next year, hopefully. Um, but yeah, those are the two things that I have in the works. Working, touring with Marco Polo and writing this musical.
Okay. So nothing in the works of you getting out talking about your whole lifestyle here of how you came
Th-
on this journey?
Nothing on the schedule, but those things come up. Those things come up sometimes. Like last year, I spoke in Milwaukee at Hip Hop Week, and I spoke on a health panel at a hospital in Milwaukee about just that, about my diet and my journey, and it was a room full of doctors and nurses in there, which was interesting. They were nodding their heads and you know um, clapping and everything, like they because I was really speaking from a non-medical standpoint, and they know, they're taught certain stuff in medical school, but they know that there's a portion of that teaching that does not deal with, you know, um, healing through diet. It's always medicine. It's always a prescription. Take this medicine and you'll be okay. And so, I was surprised some of the doctors came up to me afterwards, or nurses came up to me afterwards and shook my hand and said thanks. And um, you wanna be as respectful as you can to their profession, because they are necessary, they are needed, but you also have to know that uh, there's a part of that industry that's just about the dollars. It's just about making money.
Right, because they have to write that prescription and for it to get paid. So,
Exactly.
in some sense. So, all right. Well, that is it. I appreciate you.
The sound of Brooklyn. We gets down in Brooklyn. We move around in Brooklyn. The crowd is Brooklyn.